All right, we're going to do a take two on this California weather forecast live stream. I was halfway through my first forecast and my power started to flicker here on the central coast, and it does sound like there's some decent wind and rain outside at the moment. And actually, you can see some of the rain coming down in my area. So hopefully the power holds up for us to get through this whole forecast. Main thing we're going to be talking about is the timing and totals that are expected with the rainfall expected both for Northern California and Southern California. Because although we had the front come through this morning, may have had some impacts on your morning commute, even had some lightning out there at times, there's another system that's on the way. And probably the first thing that I should show, because this is something that's changed since my last forecast that I did, is we do now have a few weather alerts popping up across California. Where you see that brown, that's where we have a wind advisory. Good to see it's not a high wind warning, but we do still have the chance for some gusts, maybe around 40, 50 miles per hour. And then where you see that pink color, that is a winter storm warning. And I haven't been following the mountains too closely so far this year, but that may be the first winter storm warning of the year. At least that's, I think, the first one that I can remember seeing. Now, one thing that wasn't on that last map that I should mention is through the Bay Area and the Central Coast, we do have what's called a hydrologic outlook. And that's kind of a step down from flooding alerts. It's just saying that with all the rainfall and picking up rainfall over consecutive days, that could swell some of our creeks and rivers, and we may have some minor flooding out there. So just something to watch. It isn't a big surprise that that's popped up, considering we have two different systems moving through over the course of a few days, and there is the potential for multiple inches of rainfall. For example, when we just click through all the way to Saturday, some parts of Northern California could see 3 to 4 inches. I think what's most interesting, and what we'll have to watch, I'd say, closely over the next few days, is if Southern California could actually end up getting 3 to 4 inches of rain. That'd be more in just a few days than what they've picked up so far this entire rainy season. So a lot of uncertainty in some parts of the forecast, but right now that's a pretty good outlook for California, especially considering we're spreading this rainfall out over a period of a few days. That's just beneficial for the water supply, beneficial for reservoirs, future wildfire danger. Instead of if we were to pick up all this rain in just one day, that's where you'd have a lot more flood warnings popping up than what we have across California. So now let's just look at where this rain is coming from. There's the low that's been dropping, or it's a low that's been off the coast of California for a while now, but it's finally moving close enough towards the state that it's beginning to push some of that moisture and some of that rainfall in. And that's why we had some actually pretty significant rain this morning, picked up about an inch in some of our higher elevations. And then what's going to happen over the next few days? There's actually another low that's going to be dropping down into California. This is, right now, looks like the timing on this will be overnight Tuesday into Wednesday morning. And then it looks like it's just going to be lingering there for a while. Keep in mind, though, this is what you'd call a cutoff low. And there is a saying out there. It's cutoff low, weatherman's woe. Because if this moves a little bit to the west, we're going to see a lot of those rainfall totals that are in the forecast. We're going to see those go way down, as in we're not going to pick up as much rain. But then if this just lingers off of the coast, like right now the models are showing us it's going to, that's where we could actually see some pretty significant rainfall over the next few days. And you can see how it just hangs out around Southern California. That's why some of their rainfall totals are pretty impressive when we look at the forecast. So let's actually just get into the forecast now. That's what it looks like right now. We're still seeing some lingering showers from that front that went through this morning. Now, if we look at 7 p.m. tonight, you do still see some of that yellow across Northern California, even some orange at times. That represents some moderate to even heavy rainfall. Notice you're not seeing all that much snow up in the mountains. It's mostly the green color instead of blue. And that's because it's just not that cold of a system. When we look at the next storm to move in, that one looks like it's going to be a little colder, so we may start to see a bit more snow showing up in the forecast here. So looking at your commute tomorrow morning, does look like there's still just widespread rain across Northern California. There is still the chance for some moderate to heavy showers at times. At times, it looks like it becomes a little more scattered as we get into Tuesday afternoon. But then watch what happens as we get into Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. It looks like the rain starts to pick back up again. It becomes a bit more widespread, maybe some heavy rates at times. And that's that next system starting to move through Northern California. And if you look in there, yeah, it does look like there's maybe a little more blue showing up, but still not that much. This isn't a great system in terms of snowfall overall, except for where we maybe have that winter storm warning. So that's the timing on it. By Thursday at 1 a.m., looks like the rain has pretty much moved out of Northern California. So let's just go through the totals. This is going to be by Tuesday night. Let's just stop there to see what we can expect tomorrow. A lot of Northern California is in the red, which is between 2 and 3 inches. See a few places in the yellow, like Chico. That's where we could get maybe 4 inches by tomorrow night. And then keep in mind that's also on top of some of the rain that we picked up throughout the day today. Santa Cruz Mountains, you see some red there. That would be 2 to maybe 3 inches. And then San Francisco, a little around 1.5 inches. So pretty good amount of rain. Now let's just click all the way through and see how much those totals go up. San Francisco up to 3 inches, Santa Rosa 3.5, Chico 4.5, San Jose 2. When San Jose is at 2, it's a pretty good system because we usually have a bit of the rain shadow effect there. Now I did mention earlier that we do have some wind advisories up in Northern California. So let's just take a look at some of the winds that we can expect. Right now, we do still have some gusts out there between 25, 30 miles per hour. As we go into 10 p.m. tonight, you actually notice that it gets a little windier up in the northwestern portions of the state. Some gusts around 35 and potentially up to 50. I think that's the very high end of the scale. And that's why it's just a wind advisory, not a high wind warning, but certainly something to still think about. 32 mile per hour gusts for Sacramento, 27 mile per hour gusts for San Francisco through tonight. Then as we get into tomorrow, still looks like we have the potential for some gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour, but the wind advisories expire Tuesday morning. So that's the strongest winds should be done at that point. So now let's go down to Southern California, because remember that second low seems to be impacting Southern California a bit more than this first system did. So just going in and looking at the timing, still mostly light to moderate through tonight, kind of scattered showers out there. But then as we get to 4 p.m. on Tuesday, you start, it's still kind of scattered through 4 p.m. on Tuesday. That is, I'd say, where we start to see the low get closer towards Southern California, and then we start seeing some of those heavier rainfall rates. And the timing on that would be 1 p.m. on Wednesday. The heavier rates are where you see that yellow to orangish color. Then watch how long it continues over Southern California. This is why we may see such large totals. That low is just lingering there for quite some time. That's clicking all the way into Thursday, and the low is still off of the coast of Southern California. So let's just see how long this moderate to potentially heavy rainfall sticks around. That's into 10 p.m. on Wednesday. It's still there. All the way into 7 a.m. on Thursday. Looks like we still have the potential. That's 1 p.m. on Thursday. It's still there. All the way into 10 p.m. on Thursday, and you can actually see the low on the map right there. So that's all the way, then it finally starts to move out maybe Friday morning. And at that point, we do still have some showers across Southern California. It's not really gone until maybe 10 p.m. on Friday. Now, that's a big part of the reason why when we look at some of these rainfall totals expected for Southern California, let's actually stop it by tomorrow night. That's what's expected by tomorrow night. Los Angeles 0.3, Santa Maria 0.8, Salinas 2 inches. So by tomorrow night, we still haven't seen that much rain for Southern California. But then it's as we go all the way through the system where it's just continuing to pile on rain Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's where Los Angeles could get up to 4 inches. San Diego, 2 inches there. Santa Maria, 2 inches. So that's going to be very interesting to watch to see if that does end up happening. Because again, anytime you have a cutoff low, that brings a lot of uncertainty into the forecast. If it moves a little to the west, or if it moves faster and it doesn't just linger off the coast like this as long, then those rainfall totals that we're looking at will be completely different. So I'll most likely do another forecast tomorrow just to update as the models become more accurate as we get closer to the actual event. Now, one last thing we'll look at, we'll just do this very quickly. I'll actually just click all the way through these systems through Friday. That's the snowfall that's expected. Doesn't look like Tahoe's seeing all that much. Where we have the winter storm warning, that's where it does look like we could see a bit more snow. It looks, I think I was seeing some numbers where it's over a foot to potentially over 2 feet of snow, but it's still mostly up in the higher elevations, like over 8,000 feet. So still a bit too much warm air out there for this to be a huge snowmaker, but where we have that winter storm warning in place, yeah, we could see 1 to 2 feet in some of the higher elevations. So I'm sure skiers and snowboarders are going to start looking forward to that. But again, lots of uncertainty in this forecast, especially the Southern California forecast. So we will stay tuned there. I'll have more forecasts on the way covering all things California weather. So hopefully you learned something throughout the course of this video, and thanks for watching.